What's going on, you guys? It's Bre'Aunna and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you have high porosity hair, this video is definitely for you. So I almost forgot, but before we get into the tips, I wanted to give two shout outs. First shout out today is going to Jock. I wanted to say hello and welcome to the family. Thank you so much for subscribing. Second shout out that I wanted to give to today, again, welcome to the family, is beautiful J Meeks. I'm not sure if it's J or J-E. There's two E's, so that can be a little confusing. Oh, my eyes are not being cooperative today. Shout out to y'all. Thank you so much for subscribing and joining the channel. And for real, we're gonna go ahead and hop right into the video. First and foremost, what is high porosity hair? What does it mean to have high porosity hair? Well, high porosity hair means that your strands in your hair cuticles are automatically open so they can obtain and soak in moisture easily. But because your cuticles are open, that also means for us high porosity people that we can lose that moisture just as easily as we can obtain it and get it to come and soak easily into our hair. We can lose it just as quickly as we can gain it if we do not seal it in and lock it in correctly, which I will get into a little bit later in the video. Tip number one. I feel like this is kind of an overall tip for any kind of natural. It doesn't matter if you have high porosity, low porosity, or medium porosity. This is kind of a rule that applies to everybody, but I feel like if you're a new natural, you don't really know this rule. Do not put too much heat or color your natural hair too much. What happens when you use excessive heat on your hair, as most of us know, your hair gets burnt out and eventually it will break off. But if it's an emergency and you do just so happen need to use some heat, maybe you want to blow out your hair, highly recommend, and there's no other way, there's no other alternative for this. You absolutely need to be using some heat protectant, okay? Get you a heat protectant if you do plan on applying some heat onto your high porosity hair or any hair type or porosity type for that matter. Now, when it comes to coloring, I'm not saying you cannot, like, absolutely not color your hair, because I have seen people with healthy, natural hair with color to their hair. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but if you are thinking about coloring your hair, especially if you are thinking about lightening up your hair color, I would highly recommend going into a shop, into a salon, whatever it may be, and seeing a professional, because that's something you don't want to mess around with. Bleach and an excessive amount of heat are the same type of damage, the same type of bad toxins, all that stuff that you do not want to collide with your natural hair. So just completely stay away from it, all in all. The second thing that I did want to get into, and which is almost a little bit obvious, but if you're a new natural, you probably didn't or don't know this either, is that for us high porosity people, and this also goes for any other porosity or hair type of natural, that you need to be doing protective styles that tuck away your ends, okay? Protective styles, okay? We call them protective styles because they are supposed to help protect your hair. And what happens a lot of the time is you may have a protective style in, but it's no good if your ends are left out. For example, I have in mini twists right now. Okay, I have mini twists and I have beads at the end. My ends are actually tucked away, so this is protective. And also, even if you do have a protective style, say you have mini twists in, okay, that's great, your ends are tucked away. But if you are continuing to touch your hair and just like super manipulate it and just always touching it all the time, I'm gonna have it up this day, and in a couple of hours I'll probably do, like, I don't know, a low pony or whatever. Just like always touching your hair and just being very handsy with your natural hair, especially for us high porosity people. That's not very good, because the friction when it comes to the open cuticles that we have per the high porosity that our hair state is in, it's just not very good, because the friction will rub against your hair, and too much friction that can also cause breakage and split ends to your hair. And we don't want split ends. We want natural, healthy, high porosity natural hair, okay? So protective styles are super important. You could do cornrows, my favorites. You can do mini twists. You can do mini braids. I'm not a fan of mini braids just because it takes like extra long. I just don't like the way my hair comes out when I take it down. But you could do mini twists, mini braids. You could do cornrows. You could leave your cornrows out and wear it that way, or you could put a wig over your cornrows. That way your ends are tucked away and you have no access to your hair. You can do box braids. You can do passion twists. You can do there's all types of things out there that you can do. You can do sew-ins, you can do all of that stuff, and all of those are protective styles. Just make sure that your ends are tucked away and you're not consistently manipulating your hair, because that's where you're gonna mess up at. Also, while we're on the topic, make sure that you are going to bed on a satin pillowcase, a satin bonnet, or a satin scarf. Make sure you're wearing a bonnet or a scarf that is satin or silk, and if you don't have either of those, make sure that you have a satin or a silk pillowcase that you can lay on so that your hair strands are not rubbing up against your pillowcases, which will cause friction, which will cause your strands to split, which is obviously, in other words, split ends, and split ends cause breakage, and breakage just causes jagged ends and it looks bad. So, and it's not healthy. So let's go ahead and avoid that altogether and make sure that we are taking care of our hair at night. I have all three actually. I have a satin scarf, I have a satin pillowcase, and I do have a satin bonnet. So I got all three options, y'all. Make sure you're taking the precautions in order to take care of your hair. Deep conditioning, okay? Deep conditioning, y'all. And before I say anything about deep conditioning and give more tips and go in depth about why deep conditioning is so important, I actually have a little self-testimony for y'all, because once upon a time, I used to deep condition regularly, bi-weekly, every single time after I would shampoo my hair, and I would deep condition right after I shampooed. But the next time that it came up to be my wash day, I decided that I would only shampoo my hair and that I would just skip deep conditioning for the day, because I just didn't feel like it was necessary and it wouldn't kill me to skip 1 week. So I skipped the week. My hair was fine. 2 weeks later, it was time to shampoo my hair again, and I decided I'll skip it again. It won't hurt me to skip a second time. Another few weeks went by and I skipped that, and another few weeks went by and I skipped that again. Let me tell you guys that in that whole month that I did not deep condition my hair was not as soft, my hair was rough, my hair was hard to detangle when it came time to do so. It was not a good look. So, on the contrary, I'm not just telling you this deep conditioning tip. I know personally, from personal experience as a type 4C hair girl and a high porosity natural hair girl, that deep conditioning is important and it can affect your hair, especially if you are on a regimen where your hair is used to being deep conditioned and then you just completely stop it. So your hair is just confused, and my hair was confused at that point. So let's go ahead and let me go into depth on why deep conditioning is so important and what it actually does. Conditioning, what it is something that adds moisture. It's a product that adds moisture to your hair after you shampoo it. So it's kind of like a pre-poo for your leave-in conditioner. You could look at it that way, but basically it just adds extra moisture or brings moisture back into your hair after you've cleansed and washed out all the oils and all the dirt and all the excess hair products, gel, edge control, whatever you put in your hair previously. It's basically just like a very refresher and a oomph that gives your hair that extra moisture after you're done washing it. So it's very important if you don't want to have dry hair. you need to be doing it, like, period, point blank. And how I do it is I wash and shampoo my hair every 2 weeks, if not every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, if I decide that I want to be excessive and wait another week to wash my hair. But every single wash day, aside from that month that I didn't do deep conditioning, I always deep condition after every wash. So I deep condition every 2 weeks because I wash my hair every 2 weeks. except for the case that I may go 3 weeks. But typically I deep condition my hair at least 2 times a month. Again, it really depends on your hair type that you have. Maybe your hair isn't prone and doesn't like all the excess moisture because it may thin out. That's usually for low porosity hair, and this is a high porosity hair video, but you never know because hair types can differ and they can variate. So, you know, you never know. It really just depends on your hair regimen and what type of hair that you have. But for me personally, I deep condition at least 2 to 3 times a month. After every single time I shampoo my hair, it's a must, it's a must, it's a must, because my hair is used to me doing that, and it's really good for your hair because it gives you that extra moisture that it needs. And if you don't want your hair to be super dry all the time, then you need to deep condition, okay? If your hair is not growing, or you're noticing less growth because you stopped deep conditioned, or you've never deep conditioned a day in your life, you need to do it. Okay, it's a must. You need to do it. And I actually do a DIY deep conditioner. So I mix like a few different oils, and I use usually a Cantu deep conditioner, and I just mix everything all in one and boom, apply it to my hair. It's just very important to deep condition because you really do need that extra moisture. And if you don't have it, then your hair is just going to be extra dry, which is going to make it extra break off, and your hair will be extra jagged. Also, before I move on to the next tip, the next and the last one, I did want to just put out there that it's not necessary to use heat on your hair when you are doing the process of deep conditioning, because if you are a high porosity person, which I'm guessing you are because you clicked on this video and you're watching it, it's not necessary to sit under the blow dryer or have one of those hooded or heated caps on. You can if you want to, but as a person with high porosity hair, your cuticles are already open, and basically what the heat does is it opens up your cuticles while the deep conditioner is in your hair. You can do it, but I would recommend if you do put heat on your hair and you are high porosity, that you put the heat on low, because at that point it's just excessive heat that's very unnecessary because your cuticles are already open, so the moisture is automatically going to sink in to your cuticles and your hair strands, so you don't need that extra to say so in order for it to lock in. All you really need to do is apply the deep conditioner onto your hair, put a plastic bag or a shower cap over your head, tie it up, let it sit for the amount of time that it says on the bottle or that it says on the container, hop back in the shower, rinse it out, and you're good to go. And you can continue with your hair regimen, and that's it. We don't do excessive heat, y'all, because heat damage, like literally, I'm telling you, heat damage is no good for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're high porosity, low porosity, I don't care what your hair type is. Heat is never good for your hair excessively. It's just not. When you are doing your hair regimen, you need to make sure that after you apply your leave-in conditioner, that you are sealing and locking in that moisture that you have just applied to your hair. Because again, just as quick as your hair is going to soak in that leave-in conditioner and all of that moisture, it can excessively let it go just as fast as you just put it in. So you need to make sure that you are locking up that moisture with a cream, a grease, or a oil. I personally love to use Blue Magic hair grease just because it's heavy. My hair is really into heavy products, so it really just loves Blue Magic hair grease. I love the way it makes my hair feel. My hair is super moisturized for weeks and weeks and weeks, and even when it's time to wash my hair is still very moisturized, and I just really don't have any problems. So I put in my leave-in conditioner, I put on my hair grease. My hair is very fond of grease and it loves it, and it keeps the moisture locked in. Again, high porosity, super important that not only are you applying a leave-in conditioner or moisture to your hair, but that you are keeping it locked in, because if you do not seal it up, it will run right back out as quickly as it came in. Okay, those are my few hair care high porosity in-depth tips that I wanted to give all of my high porosity people out there. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me down in the comment section down below, what do you think of these tips? Have you tried these tips before? Have you never tried these tips before? Are you going to try these tips now that I have talked a little bit about it? Again, if you enjoyed this video, let me know down below. I will start making more videos like these because I actually do love helping y'all out and really explaining where I am at in my natural hair journey and how I got to where I am right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in my next video. Bye.